Women in the Philippines today enjoy freedom unimaginable 25 years ago. They can start their own business, apply for loans, study any course, pursue their career of choice, own real estate, break glass and industry ceilings, lead organizations, industries, even the country, and more. However, it was not always so.
Very challenging because, as everybody knows, most of the major business groups were all male dominated. We had the Management Association of the Philippines, we had the Makati Business Club, the various chambers, the various professional groups, and the various trade groups were all women led, were all men led or male dominated. And for some, they had the token women in the board. Every women were still token. We were the affirmative action. We had 2 or 3 in a board that was compliance with their social conscience. And so we thought, wait a minute, why are we fighting to be part of this conversation? Or why do we want to be invited to the table when we can be the table and we can be the conversation?
Realizing the potential of women to help pole vault the economy, then President Fidel V. Ramos handpicked 8 of the country's top women business leaders and entrepreneurs to serve as the voice of women in commerce. The women were icons in their respective fields, whether it be communications, manufacturing, finance, law, business, hotels, hospitals, or shipping. On May 23, 1997, the Women's Business Council Philippines Incorporated was formed.
We were challenged to set up an organization that would be the women's voice in business. They made us directly under the wing of Secretary Cesar Bautista and Ernie Ordonez, given an office space in DTI. We were given seed money to ensure that we could maintain a permanent secretariat. And then they invited us first to become members and attendees of high-level committees and meetings of organizations like IPEC, SME, ILO, the NDP, UNIFEM, JICA, APO, SIDA, amongst others. First, we were attendees, then we were invited to be speakers, then became co-organizers. We were also placed under the wing of the National Commission on the role of Filipino women to make sure that we remain focused on being gender sensitive.
Women Biz PH joined presidential trips and DTI trade missions and sat in Philippine government-sponsored fora, as well as in international meetings. Women Biz PH opinion was widely sought in the development of government policies, as well as industry associations' position papers.
What did we do on our part? On our part to pole vault the cause of women in business, we chose programs that will have strategic and national impact in addressing accesses to data, market, networks, finance, and technology.
But first, we had to gather data with a gender lens. Women Biz PH prompted the inclusion of the contribution of women in business in the Philippine economy by causing the addition of one question: what is the economic contribution of the woman in the household to the Philippine economy? This one question validated the unpaid work women do at home to take care of their families and homes, bear and rear children, take care of aged parents, and more. Women Biz PH then addressed the dearth of information on female business ownership.
With USEC Nora Terrado, I remember, we made sure that the business registry would include the tick box on gender. Who is the owner of the business? A simple thing like putting a tick box would give us data. And as you know, what doesn't get counted doesn't get measured, and what doesn't get measured doesn't matter. It is captured now on who the owner of the business is. And it gives a different face to business. It gives a different face to the MSME who we're trying to help. who are we trying to help anyway? Now we can count if the business owners were indeed women. And they say now, they can say, majority of the business owners are women.
And with sex disaggregated data, government can now create policy to address the needs of women in business. To gain a deeper insight on the needs of women in business, Women Biz PH conducted various research studies and published the results to serve as guides for policymaking.
There's always been a dearth of research for women in business in the country, and as we know, research is necessary to define the directions we need to take, especially as a policy-making or recommending body. We invested in education and research efforts, which we were able to use in crafting policy statements and in sharing of best practices with our local and foreign counterparts in international events, where our members served as panelists or speakers. So at that time, we did a number of research initiatives, including with the DTI and in collaboration with APEC member economies.
Aside from research, Women Biz PH provided opportunities for continuing education. In collaboration with Japan International Cooperation Agency, Women Biz PH developed and ran modules on entrepreneurship for the Women's Center of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. Women Biz PH launched regular Women Mentoring Women Talks, covering topics such as women's health, access to finance, participation in corporate boards, global networking, leadership skills, breaking the glass ceiling, and more.
In August 2019, we organized the Women at Work Conference, which featured young women leaders in the digital and technology sphere as they talked about creating, capturing, and delivering value using ICT and digital tools. That conference, attended by over 400 women leaders, highlighted the importance of digital transformation for businesses and for women in particular to excel in a gender-blind world.
When the pandemic hit, Women Biz PH continued to advocate for women empowerment, this time on a virtual stage. In 2021, Women Biz PH organized a webinar learning series tackling 6 topics. The learnings from the webinar learning series were then compiled in an ebook. Women Biz PH members signed up for the Women's Empowerment Principles to help women access finance for their business. Women Biz PH signed a memorandum of agreement with major government and private banks to launch Pinay, Puhunan Inilaan sa Mga Pinay, collateral-free lending window for women. Later, Women Biz PH approached the Development Bank of the Philippines to create a lending window dedicated solely to women called Inclusive Lending for Aspiring Women Entrepreneurs, or ILAW. Women Biz PH signed a groundbreaking partnership agreement with UBX, the leading open finance platform of Union Bank, by building a woman-to-woman investment and lending portfolio. Women Biz PH opened doors to markets and technology
by establishing the Women Strong Network ASEAN, composed of 108 founding members from the Women Rise 2021 research study respondents. To date, we now have a community of 307 women-led and women-owned enterprises who are beneficiaries of capacity building and business continuity planning programs, and continue to build a network for sustained knowledge, building exchange, and innovation. Funded by Global Affairs Canada. The culminating activity is the Women Strong Network Hybrid Trade Fair, NCR, and Cebu. For business reengineering, we organize a pioneer integrated trade fair of on-site, online, and perpetual digital store for Women Strong Network members, funded by the International Labour Organization.
By getting listed in the WeConnect portal of the International Trade Center, women-owned MSMEs could now sell to large U.S. companies that practice diversity and inclusion in their purchasing policies. Through ASEAN Access, women entrepreneurs can access trade and market-related information on an online portal and avail of support services necessary to penetrate new markets. Women Biz PH was instrumental in developing several laws that establish and protect equal rights for women.
We then pursued activities to increase further the visibility and reputation of Women Biz, which were capped by the designation of Women Biz as the lead private sector partner during the Philippines hosting of the women's events for APEC in 2015 and then ASEAN in 2017. And at the APEC in 2015, I presented a recommendation to strengthen women's economic empowerment in APEC. And in 2017, I presented the action agenda on mainstreaming women's economic empowerment across the ASEAN community, which was fortunately adopted by the ASEAN leaders. I believe our participation in the preparation and eventual adoption by the leaders of the action agenda in ASEAN in 2017 was a significant achievement for the organization and, more importantly, for the country. Being a lead member of the host committee, we had a seat at the table, so to speak, in crafting the recommendations, and being the host country made it more significant as this was the first time that such agenda was adopted by the ASEAN leaders as a commitment to recognizing and promoting the interests of women in the ASEAN community.
We'd like to recognize the Women's Business Council Philippines, or Women Biz PH, as the leading voice of women in commerce and for inspiring and empowering women in the Philippines for many years. As a valued partner of the Department of Trade and Industry, Women Biz PH has helped us to promote national growth through economic interventions that are enabling, innovative, job-generating, and inclusive for women. What can we expect? This is a group of empowered women who are proven leaders in their respective field.
We started with a vision of being the voice of women, not the token women, not the affirmative action. We wanted to be the conversation, not to be part of the conversation. And we wanted to start that table, not to be invited to the corner of the table.
Realizing that there is strength in numbers, Women Biz PH partnered with various organizations to pursue its goals of providing accesses to women in business. Together with its alliance members, Women Biz PH continues to push for thought leadership in women economic empowerment, gender and diversity, entrepreneurship, and the larger role of women in the economy.
I've always believed that when women support other women, great things happen. And this is exactly what we do at the Women's Business Council Philippines. We are the voice of women in business, inspiring and creating opportunities for women.